Yeah, yeah, yeah. Roll up the green, hit the links with RGB. Pitch, putt, and puff, it's our podcast scene. Talking Burt and Bogies, holding one dream. Golf cart cruising, we're the illest team.
Let's go and welcome back to another episode of the Pitch, Putt, and Puff podcast. My name is RGB. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Before we get rolling with our guest tonight, got to give a shout out to a few sponsors, starting off with Back9 Botanicals. Make sure you guys check out back9botanicals.com. Use promo code TPUF10. TPUF10 will save you 10% at checkout. Make sure you guys go check them out. They got the top CBD in the game, the Moonlight Mulligan, the Birdie Boost, the Tea Time Sunrise, the Players Blend. They also have the Muscle and Joint Rub Stick as well as the THC Shooter. So go check them out. Back9botanicals.com. Use promo code TPUF10. TPUF10 will save you 10% at checkout. Also, we got the Puff Pack. Make sure you guys go check out the puffpack.co. Puffpack.co. It's a joint holder, holds 2 joints and a lighter, perfect for the golf course, everyday use. Make sure you guys go check out the puffpack.co. They'll be sponsoring the upcoming event here on May 21st. May 21st, we got Laughing on the Loud, so make sure you guys go check that out. The puffpack.co, use promo code PUF20. Speaking of Laughing on the Loud, here's our little promo video, what we got coming up for you.
Yo. You tuned into the Session Vimps, sponsored by Heirloom and the Pitch, Putt, and Puff podcast. And this is Laughing on the Loud. Let's get it. Laughing on the loud, tripping on a good gas, couldn't keep a straight face. All I did was look back, all I heard was crash. Then I heard snap, and it all came crashing down. And I couldn't keep a straight face. All I heard was crash. Then I heard snap, and it all came crashing. Puffing on a spliff, and I'm hitting on a joint. Smoking with my peoples, then I hit.
It's going down May 21st, Albany, New York. Your tickets are now available at theseshevents.com. 3 different options for tickets. General admission. We have an option for seating with a goodie bag included, as well as a VIP. So check it out, theseshevents.com. Use and get yourself some tickets to Laughing on the Loud. And then if you want some Pitch, Putt, and Puff gear, make sure you guys go check out wecandoitshop.com/conspiracychaos.
Roll up the green, hit the links with RGB. Pitch, Putt, and Puff, it's our podcast scene. Talking Burt and Bogies, holding one dream. Golf cart cruising, we're the illest team. Pitch, Putt, and Puff, light it up, hit the rough. Every swing's a story, we can't get enough. Hazards and hard times, we know it's tough, but we live for the game, fam, that's our stuff. Got my clubs in the trunk, blunt in the front, tee off in the noon, cause we don't bunt. Discuss in the course, we.
There we go. Pitch, Putt, and Puff gear available at wecandoitshop.com/conspiracychaos. Scroll about halfway down the page. You'll find the Puffwear. Get your hands on some Pitch, Putt, and Puff merch. I'm going to take a quick second, and we're going to bring on our guest. And let's go. We're back on the Pitch, Putt, and Puff. Joining me here this evening, we got my man Ian from the Chronic Dispensary. Ian, appreciate you taking the time and jumping on the podcast, man.
Oh, I appreciate you having me, my man.
I know you're super busy, finally getting the doors open over there.
Yes,
Seen you had a busy 420 weekend, had a cookout and a bunch of events going on. But before we get into the dispo and that project for you, let's get a little of your background, man. How did your whole cannabis journey start? When'd you get into it?
I mean, I think it started kind of around the same time I'd say most people's journey start. You know, I'm just hanging out with the buddies in high school. We're just trying to, we're getting into things. We're listening to a lot of music, figuring stuff out early in life. It's like, hey, let's start indulging in the ganj here. And, from there, I mean, it was just kind of like a friend group thing, right? Like, we really, we enjoyed hanging out with each other. It's almost like a ritual, right? It's like, after school, we're hanging out, we're smoking some weed. On the weekends, we're going to each other's houses. And it was just kind of always like something that we bonded over, right? And I thought that early in life, too, was really like a great way for us to kind of like meet new people, right? I feel like there's nothing brings people together like weed does. It's kind of like one of those things where, people from all different walks of life could talk over that one thing. So that's definitely how we got our start in it, for sure.
Dude, that's literally, I say there's 3 things. It's golf, weed, and music are 3 things that bring people from all different walks of life together.
Yep.
It doesn't matter because think about. I don't know if you play golf. I know you're one of your
I do.
partners. Yeah, Gabby's. I seen her a couple videos of her playing some golf. But
Yep.
like you go out there, and say you and Gabby went right, and all of a sudden you're the twosome. You get paired up with two random people. It
Mhm.
don't matter who the fuck they are. By the end of the day, you're going to be probably exchanging numbers, looking to get out there and play with them again. It's just
Yeah.
how it works. In music, you go to a concert. Perfect example. Snoop Dogg and Wiz Khalifa came up here. I don't know 4 or 5 years ago,
Yep.
and I went to this concert, and there was this guy. He had to be in his 60s, and I thought he was there like chaperoning somebody. Dude,
Yeah.
Snoop hit the stage. This OG busted out a cannon of a joint like this and
Yep.
just sat there and started bopping away and like crip walking. And I'm going, what the fuck is going on right now? But yeah, dude, it's just the vibe, man. It's so true though. Cannabis definitely brings people from all different walks of life together, and it's just a vibe. And once you find that group, it's just the way it goes.
100%, 100%. And also really too, it's like it's one of those things. I love how you brought up the golf thing too. It's like it brings people together, and it also just kind of like I feel like it elevates friendships even to that next level at this point in my life where like I find out one of my buddies that, maybe I didn't know they play golf. I find out he plays golf, I'm linking with him every other weekend kind of thing, So it's and the music too, I've always bonded with the people in my life over music. It's just another one of those things that really just brings people together. And I mean, smoking weed, listening to some tunes, and playing golf at the same time, bro. That's peak of
That,
life right
that's a weekend with the pitch putt and puff, man. That's how we roll
there. Yes,
every
sir.
weekend. Finally, that the weather's slowly starting to warm up here in upstate New York. It's been a long fucking winter, man.
I
Long
know
winter.
it was crazy. I'm a big skier too, so another one of those things where like pairs very well with the music and the ganj as well. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's I mean going back to like how we got our start too. It's like it really just kind of gave us a way to kind of express ourselves too back in the day, and that's kind of really where the whole Chronic brand came from. Was just kind of us expressing ourselves and really just trying to make a difference. Especially I graduated high school in 2019, 2 years before it went legal in New York, so it's kind of one of those things where it was a combination of just the passion between all of us and then the actual opportunity that laid ahead for a business. It really kind of just it took off from there for sure.
I don't know how the name was available for you to get that.
It
That's
was,
crazy.
yeah. So, I mean, obviously, people tied to the West Coast origin, but funny story, it actually doesn't. I do like Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, like icons, and we definitely listened to them in high school. But the real reason, like in high school, we always referred to weed as like good weed as the chronic, not even
Yeah.
just chronic, like chronic. It actually came from we used to watch a YouTuber. His name is Custom Grow 420. Some people watching right now might know who that is, but he's a legend in the YouTube game, and it was just one of those things where back in the day we were smoking, watching the YouTube videos, and he would just every time he would pull out some fire weed, he'd just be crack it open, smell it, and be like, "That's some chronic." And for
Yep.
some reason, it just stuck with us, And so that was really like the whole obviously, like I was saying, it's also a combination of just the iconic West Coast vibe as well, but in New York, I think it was really available because we were so early to market. It was
Hmm.
company was founded late 2019, early 2020 before it was even legal. So it just kind of, like I said, the opportunity was there and we took it.
Hell yeah. Oh, good shit. I didn't know you branded that early. That's fucking smart move as well.
Yes,
For
sir.
especially for some young kids, fresh out of high school to make that move.
Yeah.
Now, is your team your homies from like high school that you grew up with?
Yeah. So it's kind of like it was so we, like I said, since I will say we'll call it early 2020. So it's been about 6 years now. And we're all just graduating high school. Obviously, we're all, this is an ideal career path for all of us at that time.
Fuck
But
yeah.
as time goes on, as life progresses, people definitely, I wouldn't say grew apart, but they found other things that really they thought was more interesting to them. But our core group right now is, one of our co-founders. He's someone that I went to kindergarten with him. I've known him my whole life. He's one of my closest friends. And so he's really held it down this whole time. But even so, like our glass, for example, one of our co-founders who I went to high school with, he's really the main reason that we really got so into the glass and why we took it to that next level. And then my college roommate at Binghamton, which is where the company was officially founded, was when I was in college at Binghamton. He was someone that I grew up with as well. So it was really like the whole idea, the whole creation would not be possible without the group of everyone. But like I was saying, just as we got older and as time went on, some people not separated, but just kind of grew out of the brand a little bit. But, it was kind of really my passion. I really wanted to take it to that next level. And, me and my business partner, Anthony, we stuck with it. And now we're opening the Capital Region's premier cannabis dispensary. So it's been a great journey.
What was that moment where you were like, fuck it, I'm opening up a dispensary? This is the route I want to go.
It got to the point where, coming from, we're obviously big in the legacy market before it was legal. We're doing a lot, everything was around the lifestyle too. We really wanted to create a brand that people could gravitate towards, trust, and really just kind of almost like, embody themselves with it. It's a lifestyle. It's not just smoking weed. It's an entire cannabis lifestyle. And that's what we wanted to embody. So, we started with that, with the glassware, clothing, accessories, tons of content, like I was saying, we were early to market. So we wanted to push the envelope with that, especially in the upstate New York area, because obviously New York City, they were doing it long before us. New York City had a real scene down there, but we really wanted to be the first ones in upstate New York, and not even the first, but we wanted to make a lot of noise. And then we kind of saw some early success, a lot of positive feedback. Everyone was loving what we were doing. We were having good success. Every clothing drop sold out. Every glass shop sold out. We're really starting to build some traction and a name for ourselves. And then when it went legal in 2021, I saw that as my opportunity. It's like, okay, I've saved up some money. I've built up these connections. I've learned the game to the point as much as I can. We've built this brand. Let's go all in. And so I left school. I didn't finish Binghamton. I left in early 2022, like the start of the spring semester. I didn't go back. And that's when later that summer, I filed for my first dispensary application and never looked back. So it was a long journey. And I didn't get that first license in 2022. I did not. It was the card program. I didn't get accepted for, reasons that my attorney can discuss with, there comes some controversy for that.
Right.
How CM is, but stuck with it, right? I was all in, I put all my chips on the table, and I'm like, I'm going to keep pushing, because at the end of the day, this is what I really want to do. And so I filed for our second license in 2023, and we actually got that license in 2024 at the very end of the year. So that was, it was a long time coming. We had been in the game for about 4 years, but little did I know that we were just getting started at that point.
No shit, that's dope, bro. It's like, to know at such a young age, like, you're already in the legacy side of things, but to be able to flip that to the legal side of things and do it the right way, and then this way you can really stand on business, I guess, with your brand, and just the flower itself, the plant itself, because now you can do everything you want to do and not have to worry about looking over your shoulder, bro. And
That was
to
the
be able
biggest.
to be able to flip that, dude, and to be able to figure out how to flip that at 19, 20 years old, bro, that's fucking crazy.
And it was like one of those things too, where like the goal was always to go legal. And I think that's really like why we were able to do it, is because from day one, it's like, obviously we know we have to do what we got to do right now to make a name for ourselves. But at the end of the day, like, we know what we want to do. We want to take this to the next level. We're looking at other states that were already legal too, right? Like, we actually I think we were fortunate that New York didn't go legal sooner, because we were able to look at states like Colorado, Massachusetts, California, Maine, see what they were doing, see what successful companies and brands in those states were doing, and really like, okay, like, we just got to, pivot ourselves in that kind of direction, and we can make this thing a reality.
Damn, that's fucking awesome. Now, did the process to open obviously took a lot longer than you expected?
Yeah, I mean, it was
OCM's tough, bro.
Yeah, they're definitely tough, and it was a multiple things. It wasn't just OCM. Obviously, not getting that first license delayed us about a year from application, but even then, we filed in 2023. I had a lease for a whole year until I got my first license. So that took a lot of faith, a lot of discipline, just making sure that we were seeing it through. And then once we got our license, this is my first business. I had no idea how long it was going to take. We got to raise capital. We got to find partners. We got to build this store out. And I don't know, you've been to the store, so you saw the size of it. It was no small project. And then we're technically in the like, our address is Albany, but we're in the town of Colony. And the town of Colony is notorious for just being rigorous with businesses opening. So, it really took a while for us to get our build permits. And then the build out took a while. It's a huge store. And then after we're done with the build out, we have to go through inspections and everything. And so the months just kept, the weeks would 1 week would turn to 2 weeks, turn to 3 weeks. We're waiting to hear back from municipalities and everything. So looking back on it, I wouldn't say it took longer than I expected, because now, for example, if we're looking to open a second store, like I know realistically what we have to do to get it done and how long
Right.
it actually might take. But in the moment, it seemed like forever. I remember like
Right.
so many sleepless nights, leading up to our opening. It's like, we got to get open. Like, it's just one of those things where like, it's all I can think about, all I want, but I can't force it. It's going to happen when it's going to happen. And, that was probably the main thing that kept myself and the team going, is like, we know it's going to happen. We're moving in that direction. We just got to, keep doing what we're doing, and we'll get there. And we
Mm-hmm.
got there.
You guys are in a prime location. I mean, I don't know how many cars probably drive past your store on a daily basis over there. I used to work up the road from there, and constantly driving past there. Beautiful store, and I like the way you have it set up with your glass and shit as well, all up in the front of the store. And then obviously all the displays throughout with the different products and stuff. But the glass, man, the glass is really cool. You mentioned earlier that's kind of how you got started as well. So you were telling me off air that you designed the glass and bring it. You have someone else bring it to life.
Yeah, so it started kind of just like as a passion project. Me and the buddies were always very big into glass, starting in high school. That we really had an appreciation, especially for like top quality hand blown glass. That was something that we really had a passion for. And it actually started with so one of my homies, we had a Roar. I don't know if you're familiar with that brand. Kind of like an iconic brand out of Germany. And it was a sacred piece. It was like the piece that everyone in high school, we're coming over to your house, we're hitting the Roar, or you better bring the Roar to the site, kind of thing. So that was a really, it was a sacred piece, but it broke at the down stem. It broke, and so we're like, what are we gonna do? Like this sacred piece broke, and so we're looking up, how we maybe repair it, and we're looking up, glass studios in the area, and we stumble upon Prism Glassworks in Troy. And we're like, fuck it. Like, we're going to bring this thing in and see. We weren't even 21 yet. So technically he shouldn't, we weren't even 20, but we're going to go and see. And out of the kindness of his heart, Prism was able to help us out and fix it up. And then it kind of just evolved from there. Like, hey, do you do custom pieces, And then with the brand evolving, we're kind of like, hey, maybe we can actually come up with some glass ourselves and work with this shop. And, it just took off from there and started small. First we did like ash catchers and ashtrays, and we started with we created our own style of gravity, like glass gravity bong, so some smaller pieces that are a little more niche. And then we just got so much demand for it at a certain point, like not an insane amount. Everything's limited, always limited drops, always, top quality handcrafted one-on-one pieces. But it got to the point where like, man, we really want to, do this thing the right way. And we started making more popular pieces like bongs and dab rings and whatnot. And, from the origin, so one of our founders, Jared, he was somebody that he's our creative director for the brand side of things, and he's really someone that he has a very unique and gifted perspective on creation, and he actually went to school for product design, so that's really it kind of correlates with bong design. He's really good at he's got a great vision, and him and I work together. So many late nights of just like different designs and how is this going to work, and then doing RNA and going to the studio and having our guy make prototypes, and so it was very a lot of back and forth and just a lot of creativity, but eventually it got to the point where we now got to the point where we are now, where we have our staples, and we've only gotten positive feedback. Everyone loves the glass, and myself included. And I would put it up with some of the biggest names in the world. It's really, in my opinion, top quality. And we've done more than enough research, and whether it's our brand or other brands, where I can confidently say that.
Dude, he's been doing his thing over there, Prism, since I was a kid, man. I remember, riding my bike past the shop when we were youngsters. So he's been doing his thing. He definitely knows what the hell he's doing. And I remember he used to do some crazy, because we were talking, we had to go and ask for a water pipe. But like some of the colors he would do for like pipes and stuff, and like bubblers, dude, crazy shit. Like my one buddy was a Syracuse fan, I remember, and he did like this crazy blue and orange and
Yep.
white one, dude. It was so sick. I
Yeah,
was like, dude,
I
you
love
almost didn't want to smoke out of it. You just wanted to look at it.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And honestly, like in his gallery, like there's so many pieces in there that it's like, I don't even want to, like, I can't ruin this with, by smoking out of it. It's too beautiful. It's really, it's an art at the end of the day. And I think that's really what a lot of people overlook with glass, especially when it comes to, like a lot of people are used to like their local smoke shop that might have some china glass in there. And like, I feel like a lot of the art has been lost among the stoner population as a whole. Not everyone, but obviously as a whole. And I really do think that, one thing that we really try to push with our glass brand is education and understanding the difference between, mass production, people cutting corners in quality, and which ultimately, cuts corners on your health. And at the same time, it's like, what our brand is really all about is elevating your smoking experience. That's the Chronic Glass tagline. It's like innovation that you can smoke, and elevating your smoking experience is really what we're all about. And Phil, he's been the owner of Prism. He's been doing that for over 30 years. He that's why it was so great to partner with someone like him. He really cares about quality. He understands the industry, and he's got a real passion for it. And it's been great working with him, and we're still working with him to this day.
Oh yeah, it's good, and that's what you need in the industry, man. Is good partnerships to be able to build. We gotta like all work together to make this thing happen. Like that's why I'm trying to do the comedy show. I'm gonna put a golf tournament together. July 10th, we're gonna be putting a golf tournament together, like shit like that, just to bring like the industry together. Because we don't really have like you see this shit in New York City every weekend. There's something
Yep.
going on. Up here,
Yeah.
there's none of that. We got to take advantage of the nice weather while we got it and start doing some shit.
100%. Yeah. So we actually just started getting involved with a company. I want to say they're based out of the Albany area, Joint Ventures Events. And we actually just did our first event with them. And like you're saying, I was really, their owner, Dakota, he came to the shop and he pitched the idea of like, we're doing cannabis focused events, consumption focused, to bring the community together. And I'm like, yes, like that's what we need in this area. Like you're saying, it's like, it's lacking in that front. We should really be celebrating, have people put stuff on like this. So I was totally on board with, partnering with him. We just did like a little puff and paint down at 9 Pin Cider in Albany. And he's doing a golf tournament himself. Which, side note, I'd love to get involved with what you guys are doing in that tournament as well. So let me know the details on that. We'll get a little team going. And if you guys want us to partner with that at all, we'd love to help out.
Okay.
Yeah, but like the events, man, that's also kind of another thing that really, how we got our start with the brand is like, we did so many trade shows, so many events, sponsoring cannabis festivals all over the state, because at the end of the day, the best part about this industry is the people, and getting to meet people and consume and celebrate with everyone, especially with the new legalization. So that was really how we got our start. We were all e-commerce before the dispensary is our first brick and mortar. So we were either e-commerce or at an event. And it's really, it's always been a passion of mine. And, this past like year or so with the shop opening, we've really taken a step back from the events. So it was so refreshing. It was on 420, the event we just partnered at 9 Pin. So it was so refreshing to get back into it and meet all people. And it's just so exciting. And it just kind of reminded me of what this industry is all about.
Oh yeah. And those are cool, like little things, man, like the puff and paint, or go to like the comedy show we're putting together, or just literally anything. Just go chill hangout session. Like Tiana from the Sesh events, she did the cannabis administration night. Just people from throughout the industry all got together and just hung out and had like a smoke sesh. It was fucking dope, dude. It was so chill. Like just the vibe was great. I booked like 6 or 7 guests for the podcast. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I was like, this is great. I said, do more of these. You saved me about 2 months worth of work here.
100%. Yeah, I love what she does. I've been talking to her about throwing some events this summer. It's really like this is the time, right? Like we really need to get active in New York and really start engaging with the community. It's going to take that's what it's going to take at the end of the day to really make this thing. That's really make New York State, in my opinion, get to its full potential as the number one cannabis recognized state in the country. And in my opinion, New York City could be the cannabis hub of the world at some point, and that's really what I want to see, especially being born and raised here, starting our first business here. That's what it's all about. Is just the New York cannabis industry succeeding as a whole. And events are going to be very key to that for sure.
Absolutely. We got to just make it happen here in the Capital District, man.
Yes, sir.
Got to do it. So what's your favorite thing that's happened so far? So why, since the dispensary's been open, like, and through the process, besides opening the door?
Yeah, opening the door was obviously great, especially after it was a long time coming. I think my favorite thing has really just been the realization of this is because obviously before we were a legit business, but at just doing it at this scale, and because the past couple of years I've been watching from not from afar, but I've been watching all these other shops go up, and it's been like I kind of feel like I'm looking at it from the outside, and it's really like wake up in the morning like we're in this now, and it's reality, and I think that's been my favorite part, is just bringing it to life, and also too like going back to the community, really engaging with everyone that comes in the store. We've gotten so many good stories, so much positive feedback. So I put so much into this business, and to have people come in and to be like, this is my favorite store, this is the nicest one I've been to, or your customer service is great, or the menu's great. It took us a while to curate the menu. So just all of the above, man. There's really hasn't been anything that I wouldn't, it's been a blessing. And the team around me has been it's just been no complaints as of this far. It's just really been a grind, and we're just getting started here. So I'm looking forward to the future.
That's one thing I could say from, I've met Gabby from your team, but from the outside looking in, like the videos you guys post and all the content and stuff, your team seems to have a really good time, and obviously gets together, gets along well, and enjoys what they're doing. That's for sure.
Yeah,
That's dope.
I really think, just also too, like it's a youthful team, right? I'm 24, Gabby's 25, Anthony's 24. So, I mean,
That's so dope, bro.
yeah, it's like, we're really, I think we're showing that, not only can, breaking the stigma around stoners, but even just like, this, the energy that we bring, I think is just something different right now. And, I think it's what the capital region needed. Honestly, I think that, there's a lot of dispensaries that are up that everyone's doing good business, but I just feel like what we're bringing to the table is very different. And, it's just something that's going to help elevate the industry as a whole, especially in our area.
Are you getting haters from the older group, like my group of like the OGs in the game, the UNC status?
No, no. I mean, I love when the older crowd comes in, and that's really like, because that's we had the younger demographic locked in with the brand, but now with the dispensary, we're really starting to branch out into that older demographic, and it's been awesome. I think I don't really think that's anything where like people are hating. It's just kind of more like, they want to talk to us and understand our perspective on the industry, because the legal industry is a young industry itself. Like it's only been around, even if you go into the entire country, it hasn't been around that long legally.
Right.
It's really just one of those things where I think our team has a great grasp of what's going on, and it's all demographics coming in the store, and we love interacting with every single one of them. And I think our goal is, I tell my staff, it's like our goal is to make sure that everyone that walks in this door leaves happier than when they walked in, and it doesn't matter age, race, gender, anything like that. Everyone, that's the goal for everyone. And so far, I think we've really been able to accomplish that mission.
Hell yeah, dude. Because as you're saying that, I'm like, if older like people like myself who are like upset that the younger crowds are like making their way into the industry, that's the worst mistake possible. Because we, like me personally, from chopping it up with you and seeing you, through social media grow what you got, it's cool to see that, because you guys have an opportunity we didn't.
Yeah.
And to take it from such a young age and build your brand now. Not even, and you're taking, technically, dude, you're really, it's a risk, because we don't know where the cannabis industry is going to be in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. But if you can make a career out of the cannabis industry, like, so that's something like they're jealous of it, is why, like myself, like I'm jealous that I couldn't have really done that for a career. Like, yeah, I can get into it now and it's fun to kind of do what I do, but it's not like I can go right now and make a career out of it, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's all about like us knowing that perspective too. Like we know how lucky we are to have this. And I think it's really just one of those things where, we're going to be humble about it too. It's like, we're not going to like I don't really see it as like us versus anyone. I really like, we're here, and we're here to build the foundation for the, because at some point I'm going to be older, and there's going to be a newer generation coming into this. And, it's just kind of one of those things where like we just have to, stay positive and just build something that we're proud of, and we'll carry into the future.
And you're really well researched too, man. Like you put your time in, you did the research, like you were saying earlier. You dove into what other states were doing, and seeing what brands and what dispensaries were doing that were successful, and like that's I wouldn't have thought of that shit at that age, dude. That's what's really cool.
No, I appreciate it.
Dive in now with like. I never asked. I've had a few dispensaries on here, and I never asked this question. But how do you guys go? So like you wouldn't be able to smoke all the samples and take all the edibles and do
Yeah.
all that shit. So how do you figure out like, all right, this is what we want in the store, or this is how do you guys go about that?
One advantage that we did have taking so long to open was that, because even back in 2023, I guess is when the first brands really came out. Because 2022 is when the first like licenses were issued. Nothing really happened until 2023 is like right from the beginning. Like for example, like Dank by definition, they're the number one selling cannabis brand in the state, but we were their first industry collaboration back in 2023. They reached out to us to do like a collaborative photo shoot down in New York City. Got to meet the owners, really just got to know who they were and what they were all about. And just from there, it kind of blossomed to where now we were reaching out to everyone. We were trying to make this connection. So from the beginning to our opening, we had 3 years to really learn the industry, learn not only what products we like and what companies we like, we know who's doing it the right way, but also seeing what the market's trending as, right? Our menu is a combination of what we like and what our staff likes, and also, what New Yorkers like. Because it's not about us at the end of the day
Mhm.
at our shop. It's about what our consumers want. So I
Right.
think that combination and, I haven't tried everybody, but I've definitely tried a decent amount. And at the end of the day too, it's like we can only have so much on the menu. And
Yeah.
also another thing too is like we're not stubborn with our menu either. It's like we've been open for a month now. Today actually marks our 1 month, and we haven't kicked anybody off the menu, but at the same time it's like we see who's not selling or who people aren't liking. It's like, okay, let's give other people a chance. Like our menu is always
Mhm.
been like for example, like Helium, I met with them last year. We didn't end up grabbing from them for our first order, but it's like that doesn't mean we're not going to work with them. It's just, the
Right.
door is always open. And it's really also like relationships are huge too. Like there could be a brand that I like their product, I like their branding, whatever, but just the relationship's not there. They're not in our store for that reason, or vice versa. It's like maybe they don't have the best selling product or like, the best quality per se, but I really like how they do business and they'll work with us. It's, relationships are everything to me. And
Mhm.
there's some smaller companies where like you might not even heard of them, and they're coming to me, and it's like, I see that they're putting in the work. I see that they, what their vision is, what, how passionate they are. I'm like, I'm going to give you guys a shot because I see something in you, kind of thing.
Right.
And I think a big focus in our store too, which I think really needs to be highlighted more, especially in our area, are the micros. It's one of those things where like we really pay attention to the craft growers. Like I personally, like we're still a small business. It's like we want to support the smaller people in the industry to really help each other out and grow with each other. It's like I would much rather have 10 micros on our menu than have 10 mass produced products on our menu that like, maybe they're going to sell well, but at the end of the day, we're not confident selling those products. And actually and when it comes to flower in our store, the best selling product has been our micros from a flower perspective, because when customers come in, we're able to explain to them and educate them and pitch them, hey, like this is who's actually doing it right. It might be a little bit
Yep.
more expensive, but it's so much more worth it.
Bro.
And our slogan as a company is bless your lungs, bless your life. It's like, if you're going to consume this plant, and why, what's the reason? And if the reason is not to elevate what you have going on, to really dive into yourself, there's really no point, in my opinion. So I definitely think that that's something that we've focused on, and we're going to continue to do moving forward.
I couldn't agree more, and I was just having this conversation the other day with somebody. Like when I go into a dispo, so like as a consumer, 9 out of 10 times I was at the golf course, my guy Fairway Mike. I said to him, I said, Mike, next time you go to a dispensary, I want you to do something. I want you to go in. This is the same guy who was watching me in Binghamton,
Yep.
run the bud tender, go make him fucking go through his whole test that he had to study before going out to the floor. But we were talking about micros and shit. I said, Mike, next time you go to a dispensary, I want you to ask what micros they have. I go, I want you to look at that bud, and then go look at then ask for like the Walmarts of
Yeah.
the industry
Yeah.
and see what they have. And you tell me which one looks better and which one looks like it gave a fuck that they, the way it's trimmed from like everything, the way it's grown, everything about it. Like any micro, like not even just helium, like Heady Tree's got some good flower.
Oh, yeah.
Budding Bliss has some good stuff. Like there's a lot of micros that have good shit, and like those are the ones you got to go, and like those are the ones I'm like, all right, boom. Like the Max Stomper from Budding Bliss. I grew up with Mark. He's a good dude.
We
Give
have
me
that
one.
on our menu right now. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's a nice flower, man. He does a real nice job with it. That was funny when I found out. I reached out to him. I seen his Instagram. Or I sent him a message, man. Love to have you on the podcast. Then he hits me back and told me who it was, and I was like, no fucking way. I had no
Yeah.
idea that he was in the industry. So it was super cool.
Yeah, he's awesome, and you know, he's someone that, like, you know, he exemplifies everything that we just talked about. It's like, you know,
Yeah,
we support what he's doing, and he really cares about the quality and the craft of his product. And so it was a no brainer, especially being from Troy. It's like that's he's our most local brand at the moment. Like that, I don't think you get much closer than Troy to Albany. You know, so it's like it's just awesome to be able to support people like him, and especially at the level that he's producing product. Like, it's fire product.
it
You know, like,
is.
it sells itself. It's just one of those things where I know if a customer is buying this, like, they're gonna love it, and that makes it so much easier to sell.
They'll be back for more. Yeah,
Exactly,
that's
exactly.
they'll be back for more. No fucking doubt, dude. That's it's crazy how the whole New York market really has switched up. What do you see the most flying out the door? Is it a pre-roll industry out there? Or are you selling more
Yeah,
eights?
I heard it even before we opened from, like, a lot of our brand reps that we were talking to, our sales reps from the industry. It's like, pre rolls are pretty big in upstate New York, especially in the capital region. Pre rolls are selling well, but really everything's been selling well. Honestly, you know, we get a lot of vape customers.
Yeah,
Something that I really noticed too, opening the store, is like edible clientele. Like, they're there for, like, the effects based stuff. You know, it's not just, you know, there are people that are coming in. You know, they're trying to get that premium, like, you know, super high edible experience. At the same time, it's like we've really been able to curate a lot of experiences through effects based edible products, which it really surprised me. And then even our concentrates lineup too. You know, I feel like we have, in my opinion, one of the best solventless selections in the area. You know, we really took our time, and our customers are really starting to pay attention and notice that. And it's just it's really nice being able to talk to somebody that comes in and they understand, you know, the differences in what they're consuming. They understand the importance of quality, and you know, we've really built our brand around that. And so it's been awesome just to be able to make that happen for them.
yeah, and like you were saying with the edible side of things, like it's a lot of the healing thing, and like people are coming in for they can't sleep, so they're taking that CBN,
Yeah,
or need something to get going, so they're grabbing something with some CBG in it, and
yeah,
that kind of thing. But and it gives the bud tenders and you guys a chance to educate the clients, and more people are walking away knowing like, oh, okay, well, if I can't sleep at night, I can take I don't know if they still got them, but like jaunties, daydream, or the night dream or whatever the hell they used to
yeah.
have with the CBN in it, and like that's gonna put me down. Or the Wild's got another one with some rosin in it with some CBN. Like there's a bunch of different brands out there with CBN, but
Exactly. Well,
mm,
a lot of them are, like, pretty much all of them now. It seems like, you know, when I'm looking at these menus from these brands, like, because they understand that that's, you know, the consumers are becoming educated,
yeah,
and that's how we're gonna, you know, elevate this industry, is really just, you know, consumer education. I think it's so important, and we do a great job with it at the store, but it really caught me by surprise with how many people are already, you know, somewhat educated, and it's great. You know, that's what we love to see, and it makes our jobs a lot easier. And at the end of the day, too, it's like, you know, it helps us, you know, get the customer products that they really need and want, which is our goal at the end of the day.
hell yeah. So, what do you guys got coming up here? What should everybody expect from the Chronic Dispensary and the Chronic Glass coming up here in 2026 for this summer?
Well, I'd say before the summer here, we have our grand opening ceremony, which, you know, we're very excited about. So right now, this, like I said, it's our 1 month anniversary today. So it's just been our soft launch up to this point. But
Okay.
1 month from today, May 23rd, is going to be our grand opening ceremony, and we really see it as an event to bring the community together, like we've been talking about. You know, I'm really going to make sure that all of our vendor partners are there, that we're reaching out to everyone possible in the area, not just in Albany, but in the entire capital region, bringing everyone together for that. It's just a celebration of, I think, you know, our company, that really, you know, we want to push the envelope in this industry, really make a difference. And then just also, I think events are so key. That's really our space. You know, not only do we have like 5,000 square feet inside, but we also have a huge lawn space, big parking lot. You know, the whole, like, cannabis is fun when shared together, and I really
Right.
think it's so
You
important.
do have so that whole front spot is all you guys, huh?
Yeah,
And a little bit that lot. Yeah, you got a nice little setup over there for some
yeah.
outside events for sure.
we've been talking about doing like a little wiffle ball tournament one of these weekends. We got that much lawn space, we're really trying to utilize it. But even like for our cookout for 420, it was just so nice to have everyone out on the lawn. It was so beautiful out. We're grilling dogs, hot dogs and burgers on the grill, playing music, throwing the football around. It's really just what the industry is all about at the end of the day, especially from the consumer side of things, right? It's really just cannabis is meant for something for people to unwind and we relax and have a good time. And I really think that our dispensary encapsulates everything that, in my opinion, is just what cannabis is all about. It's definitely a lot of events. We're going to have some glass drops this year. I was actually just working on our summer merch collection as well. So a little bit of everything that we've been doing, but we're just taking it to that next level now that we do have the store. And not to get ahead of myself, but we are looking to do a pretty big off-site event as well, not at the store. A little bit of a festival vibe. We're hoping to have one of the bigger festivals in the Albany area. We're currently working with some partners right now to make that happen. So there's a lot in the works, but really, I think at the end of the day, we're really just trying to make sure that our dispensary location is really what we want it to be, and we're putting all of our time and energy into that and making sure that we're reaching the people that we want to be reaching, that everyone that comes in, like I was saying, is leaving happier than when they walked in, and just making a difference and standing out. I really think that some dispensaries in our area, I don't want to say they're not doing what I wanted them to do, but I want to push them. I really think that, us coming online and going, as hard as we are in this industry, it's like, I want other dispensaries to see what we're doing and be like, okay, like, these guys are doing something great, and we want to strive to do better ourselves. And I think that, that's all it's about. I don't see any competition. I really see everyone as, this is an industry as a whole, and we all gotta play our part to make sure that's an industry that we're proud of and that, we can carry, long term. The last thing I want to see is MSOs come into New York State and swallow us up. And the only way we can prevent that is having a strong local community and really just have everyone, have stores that customers are loyal to and proud to shop at.
Yeah, that's part of the reason I always say, like, support your micros, support your locals. Like, that's the way you got to do it to prevent that from happening. It's no different than like going to buy from a mom and pop shop.
Yep.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Well, bro, I don't. Good.
And I think dispensaries are in like a unique position where it's like, we do have the option to buy from MSOs. Of course, we have MSOs on our menu. It's like, people want that product, but it's also our chance to kind of, dispensaries have a unique position where we work with both the craft and the mass produced side of things. So it's really our chance to really educate consumers on the differences and really, make a difference on that front. Because, micros can do everything they want in terms of marketing, but it's up to the dispensaries to actually get that product into people's hands. So I really think that the combination of those two is what gives the dispensaries the keys to making sure that it is an industry that is for quality and small businesses.
Oh yeah. That's where it's got to be, man. It's got to be. It's going to be a fun summer, bro. It's going to be a fun summer. I like what you're doing, man. I'm glad I got a chance to chop it up with you. I'm really looking forward to see what you do with the brand and the cannabis industry here in the next couple of years, because I think you got this thing by the balls right now, especially with your knowledge and just the time, like with the time, effort, research you put in to figure out the industry, man. I think you're going to be doing big things, brother. Doing big things.
That's the goal, man. That's the goal. And, it wouldn't be possible without, just everyone that's been supporting us along the way. And, I really think that we've built a great foundation in the Albany area and upstate New York. And, just being born and raised up here, it's really just been, it's been an honor to do it in our local community. So it's been a blessing. Like I've been saying, it's really just something that we're taking the opportunity and we're running with it right now.
Let me ask you this too. You said you're 24, 25?
24 right now.
So are a lot of kids your age? So I'm 42, so totally different eras. Are any of your kids your age drinking? Or guys going out to the bars and that kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know like some studies I've been seeing, cannabis is now with my generation more popular than alcohol. And it's, I've never saw it as I know the liquor industry sees cannabis as a direct competitor, but I mean, it's just kind of like one of those things where like alcohol, it's great. And I know I enjoy it. Pretty much all my buddies drink. I can't think of anyone that's like, they don't drink at all, but it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, it's different. Like they're not the same. They're two completely different things. It's like one of those things where you can consume cannabis on a regular basis and still be mentally there, cognitively there, have drive. Where alcohol, it's really, in my opinion, like it's much more of an unwind, relaxing, have a good time thing, where cannabis it's just a lot more versatile, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day too, it's like, they're their own things in my opinion. They're their own
So
things. Yeah, that's just kind of how I see it. But they also go well together. I
right.
don't discriminate.
So I work in the alcohol industry, and they are terrified of what cannabis is doing right now. The numbers are down in
Mhm.
all throughout the country in the alcohol side of things, and the numbers are up in the cannabis side of things for the 21 to 35 consumer or whatever that demographic is. And you got to think too, dude, a lot of older people are the ones that are coming in and getting those gummies for sleep and pain and everything else. So
Sure.
it, it's even picking up on that side of things. So it's been interesting to watch over the past like 3 years of like actually paying attention to it from my side of things. It's like, oh shit, like I'm on both sides, so I'm good. I'm on
Yeah,
the beer,
yeah.
the alcohol, and the cannabis side, so I'm floating even. So either way, I'm good. But yeah, it's interesting to see.
And it's really one of those things too. Like if you really like, look back into the history of cannabis legalization and prohibition, it's like, a big factor for why it's illegal for so long was the tobacco and the alcohol industries, just because, they've always seen it as a competition. And at the end of the day, it's like, if you're gonna, I wouldn't say they were cheating, but they're lobbying against legalization for so long, and it's like the reason they're doing that is if there was a level playing field, which there is now, and not even because it's not federally legal yet, it's still up to the states. But in a state like New York, where the playing field is somewhat even, I mean, cannabis is heavily regulated. Like you're saying, it's still so popular amongst especially the younger generation. So it's like, if the playing field's even and the people are choosing that, give the people what they want. It's not all about money at the end of the day. It's about making sure that people are getting the product that they need. And I really, it's just, I don't see it as competition, but I think alcohol and tobacco are always going to be there because they have their place. But cannabis is,
Sure.
it's so new, it's so underdeveloped. It just got rescheduled, I think yesterday. It's like it's so new, and I really just, like you're saying, there definitely is a risk, going to this industry. We don't know where it's going to be long term, but at the end of the day, it's like, if it's going to take off, and we all can feel it, and it's really just it's a it's a really just it's an inflection point in human history, in my opinion, right now, where cannabis is
Mm-hmm.
really going to be. I mean, think about 100 years from now, how much more research we're going to have into the plant and everything that it's capable of. It's just the beginning right now.
Yeah, it's gonna be no different than driving past the McDonald's in 10 years. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, it's not
yeah,
even they're not even gonna stand out like they do, kind of thing. Now, and you drive like, oh shit, there's another one. Or like if you go down to the city, it's like every block. There's like one on each corner almost. It's like,
yep.
god damn.
Yeah, but you
Um,
think about, you go in every gas station. You can get your tobacco products. You go then
yeah,
how
you get your beer. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's just one of those things. And at the end of the day, I mean, the other thing too is like alcohol and tobacco are also, they're reaching in. Like I know for a fact that there's been legislation lobbied within the New York State government to have cannabis beverages being sold at gas stations. And it's like, that which thankfully our politicians are not supportive of at the moment, but because that's something that would undermine the industry that they're trying to build. And alcohol, they see it as direct competition, and they want to get into it. And I don't blame them.
Yeah.
It's the future. And that's why it's so important that, like, for example, we just went to a meeting with the New York State Retail Cannabis Association. And it's a band of all, of a bunch of dispensaries from around the state, really, banding together, lobbying for legislation that's going to help protect the founders of this industry. Because the last thing that I want to see, besides MSOs taking over, is big tobacco and big alcohol getting their hands in the pot, and really
Right.
people that I think do not deserve to be in this industry, getting their hands on it. Because I don't think they really have the best intentions for it.
No, I was just talking to I don't know if you know Sammy Sativa. Me and her were just having this similar conversation of like, it's you want the guys like we were talking about, like you and like the micros and the people who have been hands on from the ground up, like building the industry, not the suit and tie guys who are going to come in because they see that it's profitable and change it all up and fuck it all up. No, that's not what we're doing here. We waited way too long for this to even get where we are,
Yep.
and I'm rather preferred in the industry in the hands of the people like you guys. So
And
not
and to
them.
to New York State's credit and OCM's credit, it's like for all the slander that OCM gets, and a lot of it's deserved. At the same time, they have done a good job at putting emphasis on small businesses and giving them an opportunity. At this point, who knows where it's going to go, and that's definitely one of the biggest gambles is OCM allowing big money to come in and really, which it already is to a certain extent, but I did think that they did a good job with their card program. At least the intention was there to make sure they put emphasis on the people that built this industry and sacrificed for this industry before it was legal. And hopefully that continues on their end. And based on my conversations with like I say, in the Retail Cannabis Association, or even like some politicians I've had conversations with, I think that we're in a good spot right now, and there's no reason to be afraid of any of that. It's really just keep doing what we're doing, and there's only so much you can control. Worry about what you can control, and that's what we're doing.
Oh yeah, fucking dope, man. This is dope. Great conversation here tonight, brother. Great conversation, man. Really like the vibe, and I'd like to wrap up with 3 questions, man. I think one of them is gonna be kind of an obvious answer, and we'll start with that one. What's your favorite preference of smoking?
So, I mean, me, chronic glass all day.
Right.
But it's so situational. Like this, I've gotten this question so many times. It's so situational. Like if I'm at like a cannabis event, it just started, like the last thing I want is a fat bong rip. You know what I mean? It's kind of like one of those things where it's so situational. But for example, if I'm going on like a ski trip with the homies, we're getting in the car, we're all excited, we're about to head to the mountain, like we're bringing out some chronic glass and we're ripping it. So that's definitely my personal go-to for sure. If I had to choose one for the rest of my life, it would be that.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, I was always a blunt guy growing up. That's what we used to roll up Dutches all day back in the day. So the vanilla Dutch, the Palma Dutches. Then as I got older, I went to joints. I do cones or I roll my own joints. I really like, so if I get a nice flower, I will make sure I have a nice clean glass tip, and I'll roll it through that.
I mean, I don't discriminate though. Like I think that's the big thing is, right, like just because that was my answer, like I don't discriminate at all. I grew up smoking blunts. I love, especially with like our line of chronic papers, our hemp papers. I think we really dialed it into where like you're saying, you get some real nice flower. The way that the papers are designed, it's just the taste on it. There's nothing like it. And even like shout out to like the concentrates community too. For 420 the other day, I took a dab for the first time in a while, and it was just like, it reminded me that there's tons of ways to do it. And I don't discriminate. Any way is valid in my opinion.
Yeah. The dabs I'm a little after that era, man. Like doing the rig and all that. Like when my buddies brought out the blowtorch, I was like, bro, this is too much for me. But now when I see people with the Puffcos and shit, like I could probably get away with that. But
the Puffco changed the game for sure.
It did. Now, if you're say you were stranded on an island and you only had one strain you could bring and have for the rest of your life, what's it gonna be?
That's such a tough question, my man. And I mean, I really think it's one of those things too, where like there's no wrong answer, because I've smoked so much, so many different varieties over the years. I probably so many that I'm forgetting right now, but one that I would say if I could get my hands on it, we'll put it this way, because I can't get my hands on it anymore. It's like, so back in the day, we used to go to the knock spot. That's what we had to do to get our product. That's what you got to do. Everybody, that's been around since before it was legal knows that. I would love if I get my hands on some sour diesel from the knock spot back in high school, bro. I would trade that for my entire inventory at the dispensary right now. Like that. That's if I could try anything or having it one strain for the rest of my life. That's probably the answer I would go with, just because of how much I miss that type of weed and just the memories behind it.
Bro, that's my answer. That's why I'm over here shaking my head, because I couldn't agree with you more. When you would walk around and smell like that sour, like 3 hours after you smoked it, and people are like, damn, man, what the fuck? I'm like, what, bro? Dude, you stink, bro. I smoked like 3-4 hours ago. Yeah, you still stink. Like the stench that had, the high from that.
Oh, man.
There's nothing. The crazy thing is that came right from Lark Street. Like AJ was on Lark Street growing that. That's the wild thing. And one of my buddies back in the day used to bring me over to Lark Street to go pick up some fire heady shit. And to this day, I don't know if it was AJ or one of his homies or what, but the quality of bud was always so much of a higher level, and we had to pay out the ass for it. But like we knew we were getting some gas back then, and this is
Exactly.
like 1999, early 2000, like 2001 era, like way the
Yes, sir.
fuck back.
Yeah,
But
and,
yeah,
and
bro, it's
honestly,
crazy.
like side note too, that's one thing that like with like you were talking going back to like the older demographic, that's something that we can bond over. It's like the weed these days just not like it used to be. Even at my age, I'm still saying that. So there's always that nostalgic tied to it. And I think if I were to have only one option for the rest of my life, I'd go the nostalgic route. I wouldn't go the modern route. I want to
No,
take it back to the roots and what really got us into it in the first place.
hell yeah, sour would be it all day. The closest thing I have to sour right now is for me is the cowboy lemonade.
Okay.
It's got like this citrusy, like it's got, how sour had its taste. This
Yeah, of
cowboy's
course.
got its taste. It's got its taste. So
Yeah.
like, I'm at the crib every time I'm smoking it. The wife's like, "Open the damn window. All I smell is the cowboy." I'm like, "All right, my bad," because it does. It leaves a stench. And I'm like,
Oh,
"Gotcha." So that's
yeah,
the
I
one.
gotta try it. I haven't tried it. I'd love to try it.
Fresh batch just came out too, so I'll make sure you get your hands on some
That'd be great. Much appreciated.
when I pop over there. And then the last question I like to wrap up with is three. This actual question is going to be sponsored by the Sesh Events. Three people you would like to throw in to a sesh. Who would they be?
So, I mean, it's a tough one. Another tough question. I love the question though. Going back to early on the episode, I think it would just be, one of the. Let's go back to the origin of Chronic and where it came from. I would love to sesh with our YouTube icon, Custom Grow 420. He goes by Jolioli. That's his name. If you don't know who he is, like check out a video or two, my man. He's a goofy guy that has so much passion and knowledge, and he was really an innovator in terms of like cannabis content back in the day. So he's probably one of them just because of how much he has had an impact on my brand and just the whole trajectory of where of our origin story, how we got started. So that's definitely my first one, and he's also a big glass head too. So got to give him credit for that as well, how we got really big into the glass. Second, I mean, my favorite rapper since I've been in high school has been Wiz Khalifa. I mean, that's definitely like a cliche answer, I'd say, but just the amount of innovation and pushing the envelope. And he's a founding father, in my opinion, of the industry. He's definitely he wasn't the first one, but he's just the one who really brought it so mainstream to the point where it's like on how accepted it is now. I feel like he really just, like we were saying before, integrated that, obviously other people have done it before. I'm not saying, he was the first, but I just think that for my generation, he really, took it to that next level. And
Yeah,
so that's, he's just an icon of mine for sure. And, just what he's done now too with just legal cannabis and as a business mind too. I really respect him as a businessman and what he's been able to build with his brand. So I think that's definitely, if I got the opportunity that'd be a no brainer for me. And the third one, let's see here. I mean, I feel like music has had such an impact on my life, especially in the cannabis side of things. So I might have to go a musician for the third one. So I don't know if you're familiar with the artist Currency. He's
yeah.
he's out of New Orleans. He was the first rapper that Lil Wayne signed to Young Money Records. He's kind of a mogul, but he's really someone that he was kind of someone that broke. He didn't want to go mainstream because he didn't fuck with how they were doing it. He wanted to do it his own way, and so
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's such a different answer from Wiz because Wiz was mainstream. Currency was like, no, like I'm not going mainstream. I would do it my own way and still make it work. And he's someone where he's just got so much knowledge and so much wisdom, and he's just so unique. And especially, just he's worked with so many icons in the industry over the years. And another guy where his business mind, I love to just pick his brain about how he looks at the world and strategy. In terms of how he sees just the perspective that he brings to the table, I think would be just a great conversation to be had. And hopefully someday we'll get the opportunity to make that happen.
Um,
But
I mean,
those are
bro,
my
Wiz, it's not. This is how I look at it, bro. I've had so many people on this podcast that I never thought I would talk to or work with or do anything like that, and it just happens through networking. So like that opportunity, like to smoke with Wiz, like is not out of the question. Like you can make that happen with Khalifa Kush and everything. You could some way throughout the industry, you could end up running into him. Like that's
Hey,
not,
man,
you know what I mean? That's not out of the question.
I've smoked with Mike Tyson, so I mean
Uh,
that's a start. that's a
See,
start. You know, we're
see what I mean, dude?
getting somewhere. And actually, bonus answer to this one. This one, I would love. It just kind of popped in my head right now. I would love to smoke with like my 16-year-old self and kind of just,
Mm,
just kind of plant the seed of like, really just, yeah, it's just, to kind of just be a mentor to that person that I was at one point. Just be, hey, this is something where you can really, change your life with this. And I really think that that's my bonus answer is my 16-year-old.
that's dude. That's honestly one of the best answers. Because when you really think about it, if you could go back and be like, yo, this is all right, buckle up. This is what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be a bumpy road, but you're gonna get where you gotta go. And if you follow it, the cannabis through cannabis, it's gonna be a successful path. And to tell your 16-year-old self that, my 16-year-old self that, it would be absolutely unheard of back then.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like going down to New York City, when I go down there and it just smells like weed and people are walking down like high five and NYPD with a pre-roll in their hand. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, 10 years ago, you're getting slapped in handcuffs for that. No
Exactly.
questions asked.
Exactly.
It was nuts. My buddy had an apartment in Queens. We were flipping and we used to like have to, like, if we ran out from what I brought down from the weekend and like didn't have anything or we stay an extra day, like we couldn't find anything. If we did, it was fucking trash.
Yeah, of course, of course.
It was fucking brutal. But yeah, my three would be Joe Rogan. I like to chop it
Oh
up with
yeah.
him,
Oh yeah.
just just to really get his side of things on some of the interviews he's done, and it's kind of the same thing, like some podcast knowledge, business knowledge, that kind of thing for sure.
Oh, he's just he's a genius. That's a great one for sure.
Bro, the shit he just did with the what is it called, the Iba gang, with Trump and all that shit, like he got this pass for all the soldiers and all that. I mean,
Yeah.
just sitting there looking at Joe Rogan in the White House, like while the president's like, the guy does a podcast and he's like changing, like it's craziness. It's fucking the shit he's the stretch he has now is fucking insane.
I
But
think
yeah,
he's
he
like a true testament, like anything is possible too, because he really just someone he does. You think about where he got started to where he is now. He's such a talented individual too. I feel like a lot of people don't give him credit for how talented he is. He can do. He's just an entertainer, and he's also just such a like a great intellectual. And give him credit
he's
to
smart as shit.
yeah, like yeah, people don't give him credit. He like obviously not everybody agrees with him.
Hmm.
He's not not everybody agrees with what he says, but you have to respect that he's not afraid to ask questions that other people are afraid to ask, and he doesn't
Yep.
he doesn't just take something and just believe it. He's going to question it. He's really going to make sure that what you're telling him is the truth, and that's something that I really respect about him for sure.
Look that up, Jamie. Look that up. Yeah, that's what he does
Yeah,
all the time. Yeah, for sure.
exactly.
My other one, let's see, I always go to him, and then grew up. I was a big basketball fan growing up. Jason Williams, White Chocolate, used to play for the Sacramento Kings, Miami
Okay.
Heat. He
Yep.
does podcast on Barstool right now. Me and him had a very similar style of play. Like the
Dig
fancy,
that.
my coach used to hate me because I would throw a behind the back pass instead of a simple bounce pass, but it
Yeah.
looked like, or an alley oop. I got benched one time for throwing an alley oop off the backboard on a fast break instead of just taking the layup. But like
Yep.
we went on, I got the whole crowd got in the game. We went on a 10-0 run. It was a great pass.
Hey man,
So
you got to bring the vibes.
that's it. So Jay Will would be one, and then number three I always go back and forth with, like Bill Murray.
Oh yeah.
It's a tough one, but lately I said the other day I said Dan Aykroyd, but I'm gonna going back to Cameron, the rapper, because it's kind of the same
Yeah.
thing. I grew up on purple. We smoking purple haze, the purple haze. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. He's an
all
OG.
that shit. Yeah. So him or Method Man would be my music guy, and because
Okay.
How High was one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, that's a classic. That's a classic. I love the Cameron shout out. I didn't think that, that's because he's someone where I was introduced to him by just listening to Wiz, and Wiz has a couple of songs with him, and it was just kind of like one of those things where like, it's he because like I was saying before, Wiz wasn't the first one to do it, and it's really just one of those things where there's so many guys out there that I feel like you could choose and just kind of there's so many moguls before us, and just making sure that you understand that and just respect what their perspective on the whole thing. It's really how it's how you learn about it yourself, and I love that answer.
Oh yeah. Super dope, man. This is a great pod, man. Great conversation. Looking forward to chop it up with you some more. I'm gonna pop up at the shop. Hopefully, I can get up there over the weekend. Um, check it out and see what's going on. But so where can people find you, and what's the next event coming up where people can get all the information on it?
Yes, sir. People can find us. We're on Instagram at the Chronic Dispensary. It's just simple as that. Our website's the same, thechronicdispensary.com. Our next event, it's going to be the biggest event in Albany of the year. It's the Chronic Dispensary grand opening. Albany's premier cannabis destination is officially open. We're really, we're looking to celebrate. It's just going to be a great time. We cannot wait to just see all the new faces, all the people that have been supporting us as well over the years, and just bringing the industry together. I cannot wait, and we're looking forward to it.
That's May 23rd, right?
May 23rd. Don't miss out,
bro. So this is what you guys do. May 21st, you guys pop out to the comedy show.
Okay.
Take the day off, rest, because you're gonna need it. You're gonna be smoked the fuck out from Thursday night, so that way your lungs stay fresh. You're rolling into Saturday, going to the Chronic Dispensary's grand opening.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Or we just find something another event to pop in on Friday and keep it rolling. Fuck it.
Hey, man. I'm with it all. We love the events. It's what the industry is all about. The more the merrier, in my opinion. So let's keep it rolling.
Hell yeah. Absolutely. Dope, brother. I appreciate it, Ian. It was a great conversation, man. Looking forward to getting doing some work with you in the future on some of these events, doing some collabs and stuff like that for sure. But we appreciate everybody tuning into the Pitch Putt and Puff podcast, and we will catch you next week with our first recap show. The boys are going to get out there for a scramble this weekend. Weather is going to finally be above 50 degrees, and no rain. So then when we roll into May, we'll start getting into the rankings and talking some golf. But other than that, we'll catch you guys next week. Peace.
Roll up the green, hit the links with RGB. Pitch, putt, and puff, it's our podcast scene. Talking Burt and Bogies, hole in one dream. Golf cart cruising, we're the illest team.